Howdy. Morning, Apes. Dave. Yeah, so it was a good day yesterday, right? Morning, Steve. How you doing? Let's just get into what happened, though, because I aren't happy with what happened, right? Also, this is something that I've not come across before. I will tell you exactly what happened once everybody gets in. Morning, Nick. Should have had a massive winning day on this competition account yesterday. On my personal account yesterday, I had a cracking day. Fantastic day. Way better than on the competition account. Now, I'll tell you why, but I'll just wait for the room to fill up first of all, because I didn't know this, and it's a right pain in the arse. So I could have got way more leverage on yesterday on this trade, but IG stopped me. Now, for whatever reason, I'll get into it in a second, but I'll just point you through the actual trade, what happened. But on my normal account, right, with my proper margin in it and my 1% risk per trade, I had a cracking day yesterday. Like, fantastic day. Everything that I looked for with my strategy got me into the market yesterday. There was no grey areas. It was black and white. That was a trade. It was one of them where I could get really nice, tight leverage on it and sort of get good size on the trade and be confident that I could be right or wrong very quickly. So let me just point you through what happened, because it is ridiculous how this it seems to keep happening with this challenge account. Like, loads of these little things keep trying to unslip me. Do you remember on the Friday when they said that you couldn't trade it on the MT4? Now, this is what happened yesterday. Set up in here. Let me show you. I got long in here. Here are my entries. Let me just show you. So you can see that my entry was at 153.88, right? So I'm long in this area here. Now, I only need a stop of 13 ticks to tell me if I'm wrong, okay? So if you work out, let's say, I think my entry was at this point here, and it would have meant that I would have used a 13 tick stop anyway. Let me just show you. The computer's being a bit funny. I don't know why. Let's just go back onto this. Right, so let me just show you again so you can be perfectly honest. 153.88 was my entry, okay? Now I'm looking at this and thinking to myself, I got in at 88, it was around this area here. Now, how I always say to everybody, and you know that I do, right, because I'm completely honest with it, I will always put my stop underneath the local swing low. The local swing low to me, the last swing low is this point here, right? I was risking off this. I would have needed a 13 tick stop, give or take. I worked out to risk 60 quid, which is what I've been doing through every single trade, that it would have been around £4.75 per trade, right? So at this point I'm thinking, right, this is going to go here. I need to get this trade on. So I go to my dealing box and I tried to go in for £5 a point. The first one I did at it with a 13 tick stop, like so. So let's put the stop in. Like so, and you could see that I would be risking around 65 quid. That was acceptable to me, right? So what did I do? I went and place a deal, press. There you go. Insufficient funds. Even though at yesterday's point in time in my account, I had just over 3 grand. They wouldn't let me put a trade on, even though I was only risking 65 quid. So what does this mean? This means. And then what I did after that is I went down to 4 quid quickly, because I thought, oh God, it's going to go without me, it's going without me. I'm in panic mode here, because don't forget, I'm trying to get my account on with my real account as well at the same time. So I'm getting my account on, my position on my normal account on, and I'm also getting this position on at the same time. I've got mine on, and then I'm trying to spam this, and it's not letting me do it. And I'm going into meltdown thinking, this is ridiculous, it's going to go without me. So then I go down to £4. I haven't realised what's going on. I'm thinking, it mustn't have not gone through. My brain hasn't realised it at this point in time. It's because I haven't got enough money in my account, even though it says insufficient funds. I'm thinking, so that doesn't make sense. I'm only risking 60 quid, and I've got 3 grand in my account. This is crazy. So then I go down to £4.50. Same thing happens again, and then I go down to £4, and the same things happen again, because my account, right, was yesterday was at £3,008. And to go £4 a point long, I would have needed £3,095 in my account. So then I'm thinking, right, this is ridiculous. I need to just get in the market. So I spam it with 3 quid, and if, like I said, on my normal account yesterday, I had a huge update. Now, I still had a decent enough day on this, but I should have been in, right? I should have been in at £5 a point. Obviously, everybody that understands how risk reward and how you get leverage onto a trade will know exactly what I'm talking about. I knew that if I was going long here, right, and you know what I've been telling you with my strategy. If I was getting long here, I got filled at 88. Then I'm wrong if we get back below this low. It's how I trade, and this is one of the golden goose trades for me. When everything lines up, we're getting this move. I'm looking at it and I'm thinking to myself, this is the trade premise. I always do. This is very similar things, which is why I know that, like, when I look back on my trades, I know where I'm going to get long or I'm going to get short. So I'm thinking to myself, this leg here is going to break out and we're going to go and repeat this leg here and we're going to get a measured move target up off this leg, right? It looks really nice. So as you can see, that was my trade premise, and I knew that if we got back beneath this low, I was likely to be long. That's where I wanted to put my stop. They wouldn't let me get in with the right amount of money in the trade, and the reason is, I've looked into it, is because I opened this account up in my wife's name. They have deemed her to be a retail trader, and they don't give you the leverage. So even though you're only risking 60 quid with a stop in, and you've got £3,000 in your account, they ain't letting you press that button, which then it's massively hindered me, because today on this account, I would be up back to new highs on my account. If I'd have even got £4.50 on, or £4 on, I would be up to new highs on my account again. I'd be back to 3,400 or there or thereabouts. If I would have got £5 on like I needed to, which is what I was going for on the trade, I would be up above new highs now. So it sucks, and it's cost me massively. So yes, I am up, but this has happened, and this is just like things that I didn't realise was going to happen with this challenge account. But like I say, on my live account, I had a very good day yesterday. This account today is like up 7%, but it should have been up like nearly 14 or 15%. So it sucks, right? You can't do it. You can't do it. They won't let me. I've looked into it last night. I've tried to change it with them, and because the account is new and because she hasn't made, you can basically lie. You could lie and say that you are part of a financial, you're part of a financial establishment, stuff like that, and you've got experience, and then they ask you for proof of it now in the UK, which I've never experienced on my other account, because like I've got enough margin in it, and I class myself as I don't know if to be honest with you, I've been with IG that long, I don't even know if I have ticked all these boxes or not, to be completely honest with you. But I've never had this problem. I've never come across it before, because I've got enough money in my account to sort of cope with the position size that I need. So it's beyond me. It really is beyond me why it's happened. But same as say, that was it could have been a huge winning day for me yesterday, and it would have been. It would have been a huge winner. There's no excuses. It is what it is, right? But that's what happened. The one time that I could have got a really nice amount of size on that position, they've said that it's not allowed, which is it's just crazy to me. Because at the end of the day, right, if IG are going to stop you out of the market, you're only losing 65 quid. That's it. So even though you've got £3,000 in your account, you're only losing 65 quid. So why would they not be? Why is that not okay, acceptable to do that? It's just, it doesn't make any sense. I've never come across it before, but it's massively cost me on this account, right? Because that was a big winning day yesterday, that was, and that's going to now affect my future return rate going forward. Because as I've told you, with this strategy at the moment, it's like all or nothing, and it's happened again yesterday. Like, I've had a totally shit 10 days, and in one day, like, it's absolutely gone ballistic in a day, and the R rate was huge yesterday, but I haven't been able to capitalize on it in this account. So what's going to happen is I'm going to get losses again that come along that undo me again, right? Because that's just, I know my strategy. So on my normal account, great, happy days, but on this challenge account, just to make everybody aware, this is going to massively affect my future return rate, and I'm sure it will do, because these big days, you have to capitalize on them. It's what I've been saying to you for the last 2 weeks into it. Like, when this big day comes along, as long as I capitalize on it, I'm going to be okay. So it's come along, and I haven't been able to hit it for everything that I should have, and it's going to cost me. I know it is. So Yeah, but yeah, I that's it. More IG applied pro trader status rule Centesma. But the issue is, I can't change it. It won't let me change it. When you go and try and do it with this account, with it being a new account that is set up, they want all sorts of shit off you. They want like financial. If you the questions are, have you traded a notional? Have you traded a notional amount of this much money to get your pro trader rating? And if you have, they want to see you proving that, right? But because I made this not in my wife's name, because I've already got an IG account with my live account in, she hasn't got any documentation saying that she's been trading 10,000 to 50,000 notional in the DAX before, so she can't prove it. So it's impossible. Like I can't get that off. I can't get it off. And it could massively affect the profitability of this strategy going forward. There's nothing I can do about it, because the problem with this is, on them days like yesterday, that's my bread and butter trade. That is, it's a very, very good trade for me. When that pivot happens at that time in the day after a drive up, it's highly likely that them days are the days when I can get the excess sort of meat on the trade and risk a very small amount to make the big R, which is how I work. Now, if it's not going to let me do it, and I'm not going to be able to get that size on this challenge account, then the results ain't going to be there. They're just not. Because, the days when I can take a 20 pip stop or a 15 tick stop and get £4 on, or £4.50 on, or even a fiver on, they're the days which I make all the money on. It's tough, but I don't know what I'm going to have to do. I'm going to have a think about it, basically, because I don't see how I can trade this account properly. It's going to be tough for me. If my hands are tied on the days when I can, on the best days, it's going to be very tough for me. But that yesterday, right, that's the bread and butter setup of my trade, basically. It happened yesterday. I should have made, on this account, I should have been up 14%. At 2% risk, I should have been up 14% in a day, in an afternoon. Right, so it's there. It's there. That's my strategy. Everything where everybody's been saying to me lately, oh, you need to get in, you need to do this, you need to do that. Well, that's my bread and butter right there. If I could show anybody, it's that's it yesterday. And that's what I'm being so rigid for these days, because I know they come and I've got to just jump on board. But then when it starts to, affect me with this shit, it's crazy, because I could have been on here this morning with my account at 3,450 and be well up and feeling great. It's massively tripped me up, massively. So it is what it is. I'll have to think about something. I don't know what I can do. I could potentially put more money into my account to take me up above that point, but then it skews the account again massively. Because it's going to look like my account's up where it is, and I don't know how I could do that with the YouTube that I'm doing, where if suddenly I just appear with an extra 1,500 quid in my account. But that's what I would need to do to give me that leverage on them days where I can use a tight stop. But I don't know if that's right. I don't know. I'll just have to see. One stat that I did see yesterday, though, guys. Listen to this for a stat, right? This is a baller stat, isn't it? I was looking at the DAX yesterday and my stats, right? So this week, my average hold on the DAX for my winning trades has been 5 hours and 14 minutes, and my average losing trade hold has been 31 minutes. Now, I'm impressed with that stat. I love that. I love that type of stuff. So I hold my winners on an average for 5 hours and 14 minutes. But my losers are half an hour. Now, I just think that's great. So, in my opinion, if you're doing that and you're jumping into the flow in the right direction, you can only make money, really, can't you? It's a good start to have that. Hold my winners for 5 hours 14, losers half an hour. I love it. Yeah, I could bump it up, right, to 6k, but the problem that I've got then again is I need excess money in my account, don't I, to manage the position right. So let's say on my live account I've got 30k in there. I potentially need 40k in there, really, to take the same positions that I do with 30k with this stupid shit. So even if I was making it a 6k challenge, I would need 8k in there, if you know what I mean. Do you understand that? I need a surplus of cash in to deal with this stupid issue. with this account, because you can't get the pro margin, because I can't physically do it. I have nothing to prove that she could have been doing it, or she's got any sort of documentation to prove that she's been trading of any sort in any way before. So yeah, so you need a surplus. So let's say if it was a $6,000 challenge, I'd probably need $8,000 in my account. So if it's the $3,000 challenge, I'd probably need $4,500 in my account to deal with it on the days. Now, these days, right, they are very, very sort of, they don't come around very often. There's probably one every month. And it's just when you get that pivot that tightens up in 11 o'clock, from 11 o'clock till 12 o'clock, and you get a very tight pivot, and you even know if you're right or wrong. You're either at that point, you're either going to get the trend day or you're not. It's very black and white for me. And yesterday there was like a high probability that would happen. And it means that my stock can be dead small. I don't think it's a bad thing though, right? I don't think it's a bad thing overall if you're just starting out trading. Like, this has been put in to stop people blowing their accounts, hasn't it? Because someone could just jump on here and spam a £15 position in and lose their arse straight away. So I'm not saying it's a bad thing if you're struggling out there, you know, and you've got some type of problem with your trading where you just keep on going in too big and stuff like that. I suppose it does protect your account. It takes the gambler's sort of the gambler's roulette wheel off it a little bit. But for me, thinking I know what I'm doing, it's just massively cost me yesterday. Yeah, I need slightly more money than what I'm actually trading with. I think that's the key. So if you're trading a $3,000 account, you're going to need $4,500 in your account, basically. I can call IG Change, right? But the thing is, I haven't opened this account up in my name, so they won't speak to me. I've tried it. I tried it last night. They don't want to speak to me now. I can't get my missus on the phone, and she doesn't know what she's talking about. So she's like, I don't want it to sound like weird, like as if I'm like, she's on the phone and I'm on the phone and I'm trying, like, she does, it's in her name, so it's probably stupid. I probably shouldn't have done it anyway, really. It's one of the things. But I needed to do it because they wouldn't let me open another account up. Now I've got my live account up, my proper account with IG, so I've already got one with them. So maybe it is in the best interest to open another one up with another broker, not with IG, but then I'm not comfortable trading on that platform. So there's all these things to think about. Like, I'll have to think about what I can do. But basically, it's massively done me. Really done me. I'm more pissed off with yesterday, really, with what's happened with this account than taking the losses the week before. Because I know that them days are my bread and butter. They're a massive part of my winnings per month. And if I don't capitalise on them, like I've been telling you, I have a big problem. And if I was in at £4.50 or £5 a point, which I should have been, my account would definitely 100% be at 3-4 this morning. And it would be happy days. Yeah, just risk 1% per trade, not 2%. That's potential. I could potentially do that, but then it's not as exciting. I was hoping to have trotted it up, you see, Wayne. And to be fair, I would have done. I'd be up at like 3-4 if it was all okay and it all would have gone fine. I'd be up at 3-4 again. I think that's pretty acceptable. In a month, I think I've been doing this for a month now. I think that's pretty acceptable, really, to be at that level. 3-4, 3-4.50, which is what I would have been. I think that's quite good. I'd accept that as being, a decent month. I think I've been doing it for like 1 month, so. Yeah, I know, Mark, I won't do, to be fair. That's a good point. It's a good point that you make, to be fair. What would AstroFX do, Ed? I don't know. They wouldn't even be trading, would they? Let's face it, they'd just be driving around in a Rolls Royce with MT4 open. Just to let you all know as well, change the subject here, the old man's alright. He's alright. He made it through, pulled through. But let me just explain, right? It was absolutely horrendous, that was yesterday. I wouldn't wish that on my worst enemy. If somebody said to me, "There's $5,000, go back and get it done tomorrow," I wouldn't be interested. it would need to be more money. 20 or 15, I potentially think about it, but it was freaking horrendous. The worst pain I've ever had in my life. And it wasn't the old cocktail stick STD thing that people are thinking. It was a full-on bladder inspection. So let me just bring this over for it. I don't think I can actually. What it is it's called something called a kaleidoscope, and it's like it looks like a fishing rod. It looks like a long black fishing rod with a camera on it, and it goes right down into your bladder, so it has to go through your prostate. It was absolutely horrendous. I could have literally thrown up when it happened. And the doctor's like, I was in the worst pain I've ever had in my life, and there's like 3 or 4 of them stood around this bed, and he's like, this isn't the worst pain. The worst pain will be when we have to go through your prostate. And I'm like, at that point I couldn't even breathe. Like, I was physically sweating. Like, it was like cold sweats, horrible. What they called it now? Not antiseptic, anesthetic. Sorry, no anesthetic, nothing. All done right in front of you. And he's like, this isn't the worst pain. He's like, in a couple of seconds when it goes through your prostate, you're gonna have to hold your breath and grit your teeth. And as it went through, I'm not kidding you, I have never felt pain like it before. And as I come out, there was 2 women in there that were like really nice, and she was like, she said, we have a lot of old men in here for this normally. She said, a lot of the time down there, they've lost the feeling in it anyway, so it doesn't really affect them. She said, I feel really sorry for you because you're one of the youngest people that we've had in here. She said, it's really, really been painful for you, that hasn't it? And she said that it's similar to the pain that women have when they're giving birth, but it's more acute. And what she meant like that was like, because I was like, what do you mean? She's like, well, think about it, right? Women in nature are meant to have children. She's like, men in nature are not meant to have something like that put down their bits. She's like, it was, so she said, I really feel for you. So she said, she compares it like to something like giving birth, but it's a bit more acute and a bit in a bit short. Like, it doesn't take very long. Whereas women, it's less acute, but it takes way longer to have a kid a lot of the time. I wouldn't recommend it to anybody. It was horrendous. It was awful. But I'm all clear. I'm in the clear, right? I am in the clear, so it's all good, which is a good thing. But I just can't believe what happened. And the best of it is, right, the doctor, this is the maddest thing ever. The worst thing about it ever is, he goes to me after, he goes, yeah, you're all in the clear. We had your scan, because I told you my scan results. They come back all clear like a week or 2 ago. So I'm thinking to myself, like, why does he need to do this? Like, does he actually even need to do it? So after he comes in, he's like, right, is that okay? I hope you're okay. It was a bit painful, that was for you, wasn't it? I'm like, yeah, God, it was the worst thing ever. I still haven't sorted myself out by this point. I'm still like physically cold sweats. He comes in and goes, well, we had a look and I can give you results. Now everything looks good to me down there. All the bladder's okay. I think it might have just been that you've got lower back pain. And I'm like, are you serious? Have you really just done all that? And then said to me in the next breath, I think you could just have a tight back. And I'm like, I come out of there, I'm like, whoa, like what the hell has just happened here? Like, he's done that. He's actually physically done that to me. Like, why not just go down the tight back route first? Like, is that not what you do? Like, because all my scan results come back fine. So yesterday when I get there, he's like, yeah, all your scan results are fine, but I'm still going to have to do this because we just want to make sure. And I'm like, but if the scan says it's fine, I don't know if you should be doing this, mate. And he's like, no, we definitely want to do it. And he leads me in, and there's like 4 or 5 men, like one's 85, one's 70 odd, one's got a walking stick, and there's me at the back of the queue. And I'm walking in behind all these old dudes, because obviously when you're older, you get these types of problems, don't you? And I think, so this shouldn't be happening to me here. I feel okay. Like, come on. And then, like, when I saw the thing that he'd got on this bed, because I was the last to go in, I was just like, are you freaking kidding me? It was like a pool cue. If you can imagine a pool cue, like a black pool cue with a thin end on it, but the end gets fatter, and it had a light and a camera on the very tip of the pool cue. And it's like, he's like potting it like that, and I'm like, are you serious? The worst thing ever. So if anybody asks you if you need this to happen, or your doctor says like, oh, I'd potentially like to do this, just get the scans done first. And if everything's okay, my advice would be, I've got no medical type of education or anything like that, so don't take my advice if you don't want to. But my advice would be, don't have it done, honestly. It really, really, really was horrendous. It just was absolutely disgraceful. Yeah, do you know what? Honestly, Trend the Market, it was that bad. It was that bad. It was that bad. I can't explain it. It was absolutely horrendous. I'm still not right now. I am still in pain now today. Still. But Google it. I can't bring my page over, I don't think, to show you what it was. Because it is interesting. There's a little like animation of it on... let me see if I can pull this down. Move this across. Yeah. Right, okay. This is it. This is exactly it. This thing here. Like that's your men's bits. And it gets put down like that. And when it went through this bit here, which is your prostate, I am not joking you, it was the worst, but I've never experienced pain like it before. It's like a big long black fishing rod or something. It was awful. And it gets put straight down that bit and straight right the way down, and he has a good look around in here to see if everything looks okay. It was just the worst. So that's exactly it. That it's awful, and it's got this on the end, like this flashlight camera. This is it with a long stick on it. It's just the worst. I wouldn't even wish it on my worst enemy. So yeah, that was my afternoon yesterday. The thing about it was, though, the good thing about it was quite quick. It was like probably, I don't know, 5 minutes, something like that. So it was quick. It was short, sharp, and very, very painful. But yeah, so that's what happened, right? Hope you can all see that to me. Feel for the doctor as well doing it. Like, who wants to do that? He told me that day alone he'd done 14 of them, and I was his last. So I'm thinking to myself like, hey, well, maybe I'm the last, but also the doc. Maybe I'm the big boy at the end of the day. Like, how am I looking down there, mate? He wasn't interested in any of that. He just grabbed it and thought, right, there you go, son, straight in, no problem. But I was the last one. He'd done 14 that day, so fair play to him. He's obviously out there saving lives with what he's doing. But yeah, he's seen 14 knobs yesterday, that doctor. So it's an interesting thing to do, isn't it? If you're and God bless him, by the way, because it wouldn't be for me, but fantastic. He's doing God's work, he is. But yeah, he saw 14 helmets yesterday. Yeah, they don't give you any anaesthetic, none. Maybe I wouldn't even wish it on Dan Lake now. Yes, ActiveFX. I'm going for 3 million from this freak account. No, mate, I just put that on there to try and see if it would create any more sort of people clicking on the title. I don't think it's made a massive difference, though, to be fair. Yeah, get back to trading. Sorry about that, Josh. Keep your breakfast down, mate. I've got to cut this one. I've got to cut this one off, by the way, guys, in 15 minutes. I've got to go at 9:30 this morning. I've got to do something. I've just got to nip out, so I've only got like 15 odd minutes, and I've got to go. Sorry to cut it short, but I've got to just go and do an errand. 15 minutes. Let's have a look what's going on anyway. See that entry again, guys? Look at that entry. I say it every single day, okay? Look at that entry. 8 o'clock low. Through the 8 o'clock low. We've closed back inside. Right? 8:45 candle. That's the mechanical entry that I've been telling everybody every day. Okay, the day you start trading this will be the day that it stops working though, alright? So just take that into account. But look at it again. The same thing happening. I've said to you, on a bullish tape, when the market turns bullish, buying the fake out through the 8 a.m. low is a good trade to make. Your stop goes beneath this low, your entries after the close back inside. It's free edge, that is, guys. No guru stuff there. Now, it works on most markets as well. Pound, it will work on DAX. It even works on. You can even do it on Bitcoin, the Euro. It does work. If you get that trap through that 7 a.m. to 8 a.m. trade block and then you close back through it, it can often be the low of the day. Just pointing it out there. Beautiful price action on the time frame for Fade the IB. Right, Matt, awesome. See, awesome. Let's have a look. Yes, I agree. That's lovely. This consolidation here for me, this one, this is when you probably know that the trap's in here. So you get the move through it, but this consolidation here for me, if I'm on the short discretionary stuff there at 9 o'clock on that candle as we sort of break that consolidation high there, that for me is a lovely trade. And you could even take the retest of the block, the consolidation block here once you get the drive up. But Matt's pointed that out. I think that's lovely price action too. I think it's really nice. Yeah, thanks Josh. Everyone hit the like button, by the way. That would be lovely. I've got somebody, by the way, that keeps on pressing dislike every day. Some baller out there is pressing dislike because I seem to have one dislike on every video. So I can only assume it's the same person who's pressing dislike every day. I actually think that's pretty funny though, so kudos to him, whoever it is. Can't be a bit of the old banter. I don't take it personally because it's one of them, but yeah, I seem to have one dislike on every single video. Is it Dan Legg? Is it Astro? I don't know. Who knows? But I think it's funny. Right, what's Mechanical doing here? Half point just hit for 1.8R. Today also had ER 0.2. Can you just explain that, Mechanical? I don't, no comprende, brother. I think Mark might tell. Does that mean I don't understand, Mark? You can speak Spanish, Mr. Wogan, if you're still in the room. US 30 breaking higher. It could be Sierra, it could be Tom Hargard. What's Wayne sorry for? Sorry about that, Wayne. What are you sorry about, mate? It's tough though, isn't it, out here now at the moment? These daily charts, right? What they're going to do? They've put us back into this range. From like a bigger trading perspective now, we're just sort of smack back in the middle of the range again, aren't we? I don't think... Look at that there. Are we 50% of that big range on the daily? You'd have to say that the range is from here to there, wouldn't you? Let's just have a look. So we're past 50% of that range then. That's the big daily range. Swing low, swing high. Massively been stick saved though, hasn't it? It was looking really bad, wasn't it, when we're rolling over? I think if you go back to last week or whatever, it looked horrendous. But you could see what you could feel and see what was sort of going on. I did feel like it was getting saved, really. And yesterday it just went parabolic again. Two dislikes today, Swifty. 2. I don't know. What can you do? You can't please all of the people all the time, can you? No entiendo. I don't know what that means, Mark. Right, so the ER is the Kaufman ratio. Awesome. Today's reading was 0.2, which means we're in a chop mode on the higher time frame, so the fade should be on. Awesome. Estupendo. New all-time highs, boys. It wouldn't surprise me, Sierra. It would not surprise me It would not surprise me in the slightest. Yes, jumped on it yesterday, AP. Jumped on it. Didn't make as much as I should have, though, for leverage reasons of IG. They stopped me from getting in with the position that I should have been in to risk the normal amount of 60 quid that I've been doing on every trade. So obviously, I've been losing 60 quid on all my trades because I've been always around 3 grand. But then on the big winning trade yesterday, I couldn't risk 60 quid with it from the point that I would have been wrong, if you know what I mean. Because the amount that I needed to be in at, they wouldn't let me do it for leverage reasons for some reason. But yeah, I did catch it, but nowhere near as much as I should have made on this account. Oh, right, okay. Thanks, Mark. How good is it to be, like, have different languages under your belt for a rainy day? That's awesome. I think anybody that speaks multiple languages is an absolute ledge. It's awesome. DAX, quite interesting. Active. Tell me what's interesting about the DAX. What you seeing? Tell me what's interesting about it. I'm interested in your thoughts. If you think it's interesting, what you're seeing. What's interesting? Are you looking at long? Are you looking at short? Because I've got no edge this morning. There's nothing there for me. So I'm just wondering what you're thinking. Whether or not you've seen something that I haven't. Yeah, Nick points out that the false breakdown. Yeah, massively false. It was a huge false breakdown. But Nick, I will say this, right? I don't look. I said it yesterday. I don't think that the markets. I've never seen a market test lows like that before and not crack off. I think, what do we have? 6 or 7 tests of it. I don't know if we've got markets that can move down anymore like they used to. I mean, 3 or 4 tests of a low. Next time we go down through it, you would expect that low to get flushed. You really would. Just doesn't feel right at the moment. It's the markets that we have, right? So we've got to trade them. It is what it is. But to me, in my experience of watching the DAX, how it moves for the last 11 years, I will say that when them lows go like that, they go like. After 4 or 5 tests of it, you would think that the higher probability is that we go and flush that low out. We didn't again, and it's just becoming a bit like it's becoming a bit. You would have to laugh about it, really. Like it's obvious that the markets just aren't being let loose. And like, have we got 3 markets anymore? I don't think we have. You could argue it could be all sorts of things going on, but I genuinely think that it's the central banks that are stepping in, that are trying to hold the markets for whatever reason. I really do. I really do think that that's the case. Call me a conspiracy nut, call me what you want, but I actually do think that's the case. It's highly improbable that what happened as we went through that low at 15k, we didn't crack off. Like, it's been held. You can see the range. If you pull the daily chart up on the DAX, they want to keep it in this range for some reason. They're trying to hold it off. Who knows what for? Are they trying to kick the can down the road and keep this party going for way longer than what is possible? I think they definitely are. Yeah, I have, Dave. Yeah, not only I've traded other markets, but my focus has been purely on the DAX for 11 years, really. Yeah, sad but true. Sad but true. Mikos is in the room. The narrative is changing from stagflation to reflation. Mikos, I agree with your point, right? But the narrative was as we hit them lows through the bottom, right? That narrative. In my opinion, anyway, in my humble retail opinion, that narrative wasn't. The narrative has only changed because that low's held, that technical low's held, and then the last few days we've seen the market tick upwards, and then all of a sudden it's like reflation, not stagflation. But as we hit that low, I'm just looking at it from a trading perspective, Mikos. I'm interested in your thoughts on this. Technically, right? If a market tests a low, the more times it gets tested, do you think that it's more likely to go or more likely to hold? in like a black and white scenario. Because from what I've seen over the last 11 years, I'd say that when a level gets tested more and more times, the more likely it is to go. Now, I know they don't always have to go, and we're talking about something that's not black and white, but if I'm guessing, I'm thinking that low's going to go, and it didn't. So I think because that low's held, because the market's got saved at that lows, the S&P, the Dow, the DAX, now we're talking about reflation again because the market's held that low. Were we talking about reflation as the market ticked through that low and looked like it was going to go? I think that at that point the market was all stagflation and we were all thinking, fuck, this could unwind. So it's like the market saved the low, the lows got saved. I think they should have gone. I think that the DAX should have unwound. I'm wrong, it didn't. And now it's all reflation because that low's held. But if I was a betting man and somebody said to me again, are you taking that trade as we cracked off on the 15k on that daily? I would take that trade every day of the week normally. And it's so worrying. It's a tricky call if it keeps making marginal new lows and coming back, then feels like the market is just sweeping weak stops and bouncing, no follow through. I agree with you, and that's something that I was aware of once I felt like it had been saved. But when you're looking at the Bitcoin chart as well, the Bitcoin chart traded through its lows so like very, very similar, where it keeps on going through it and stopping and then going through it and stopping. And I just think this is just slight change in the price action of how things move around on the daily charts. And they just step in and save these lows all the time. And the thing is, like, if you're thinking that 15k is going to go, you're thinking it's really going to unwind. So you've got to be in short, haven't you? You've got to be in short, really, and just take the loss if you get the loss. Because if it does crack off, you're going to get 1,000 ticks down in a day. So you've got to be in the market and just take the small losers as they happen. But probably I'm still pissed off because I got it rammed up my ass when I was trying to get short last Tuesday. The 401k flow is massive. I agree with you. It is. All of that, it is all massive. But does this mean that the market never goes down again? Like, does this mean that we never have another recession? Global pension funds are full in by the dip mode. I agree completely. And these are all the fundamental drivers of why the market keeps going up. But how can it be? I'm not a bear, by the way. I'm not hoping that we crack off or anything like that. But it looks ridiculous. Like, are we just never going to go down ever again? I don't, like, it's beyond me. Like, if you pull up a chart of the US 500 and just look at it, it's absolutely ridiculous. It's crazy. Like, how is that normal? It just does not make any sense to me. But I suppose you can't guess, can you? Can't think, like, normal times, this monthly engulfing here, which everybody pointed out, has been a massive sort of pointer at the end of September. It just looks like it's going to go straight back up. It's like, I just can't believe it. Like, this to me is normal market behavior, up, down, and no, like, bull market, bear market, bull market, bear market, and then you just go this. But what is this? What even is this? What even is this market price action? I don't understand it. Oh, I'll trade it, obviously, but to me it just looks crazy relative to this. Like, if all we've known is this and this, then what the hell is this? I hope I'm not sounding like I'm a real thicko or anything like that, but it just stands out to me as being absolutely crazy. You could argue that this was similar here, though, couldn't you? If you're, like from this period here, especially like from 1990, the market just seemed like it went up then, just literally went up. And then we had this bull run that sort of kicked off in 94. If you're looking at that and you zoomed in on that bit there, it does look something similar, doesn't it? So maybe we have seen this sort of thing before. Look at that from 95. You wouldn't want to forever, and we also had the sort of crack off there, didn't we, in 98? Like, that looks to me very similar to sort of what we're seeing with the coronavirus scare. How we cracked off there in 2 months down, massive, and then straight back up, whammo. You're getting it rammed up your arse if you've got short. And you can see that. It's very similar. Now, how long did that last? 94. We finally topped out in 2000. Crazy. No brainer, buy the dip. I agree with you, dude. Accumulate assets forever. If you're in cash, you're losing money every year. I agree. I totally agree. And every time you think it's going to go down, it just steams back up again. Like, how many people monthly looking at this monthly bearish engulfing on the 500 are thinking tops in, cashing out, getting out, and then it just like every bearish signal just means nothing. It just means absolutely nothing. It can't go on forever. I agree with you, but it wouldn't surprise me if it went on for way longer than what people are thinking. Way longer. Northman Trader tweeted a tweet out yesterday which made me laugh, and he's like because he's a right bear. I still follow him on my other account. I have a second account that I watch these gurus on because he's banned me from following him because I give him some stick. So I'm not allowed on his normal Twitter, but I followed him yesterday, and he does make me laugh, if anything. He's like, look at this. He's pointing out that the market goes down, and when we go down, we sort of go up and down and up and down. But then when we go up, we just go parabolic up. And he's like, I'm thinking in the back of my head, but we are in a bull market, aren't we? So that is normally what happens in bull markets. We normally go up in a straight line or trend up, and then when we go down, we sort of go down, but we then go up. It's like, we are in a bull market, Sven. Yeah, Nikos, that's a good point though. I think the point that you're making there, I think that will be the undoing of it all. The gulf between the rich and the poor is huge. Rich hold assets, poor live with cash. And that it doesn't get any worse than what's happening at the moment, does it, right? So you've got Jeff Bezos flying some geezer to the moon, maybe not to the moon, but to space, wasting that much carbon that it's unbelievable. He's having a cup of tea and an afternoon sandwich with this geezer in space, flying him up in his rocket, and the rest of all of us retards are running down here being told, like, you can't eat steak, you can't eat beef, you've got to eat insects, you can't have your eating on, you've got to change your boiler, you've got to have a hydrogen boiler, you're not allowed to go on holiday, you're not allowed to fly to Spain without paying your carbon tax. Yeah, that idiot Bezos is flying people to space for a picnic. And it's like, that will come back to haunt these people. I know that will. In the future, and what they're trying to do is they're trying to control everybody that much, the governments are, without getting into it that too much, to stop this from happening, because they know there's going to be massive social unrest. Massive. And the more they try and get this carbon stuff into people, and then they're doing the complete opposite, it will create social unrest one day. And there will be that much carnage from it that I think that's what will undo the markets. It's the same with the French Revolution. History always comes back to haunt these people. You can't have people starving and you being King Louis and spending all money on yourself and acting like like the peasants don't matter, because they will come and chop your head off eventually. That's history always comes back round. That will happen, in my opinion. Can't have Jeff Bezos, Bill Gates saying to everybody, you're not allowed to eat beef, you've got to eat insects, spiders, but I'm going to fly to the freaking moon and have an afternoon tea break. How much CO2 or how much carbon did that rocket of his produce? How much, what we're talking, that maybe half of England's sort of energy for a day to send that up there. Like, it would have been massive. But like, people are saying to us, you're not allowed to do this. You've got to have your boiler off at night. All this shit, which is ridiculous. And it's the same with like all of these dicks that are flying to this COP thing yesterday. Did you see that yesterday? That they're buying 10 Teslas. 10 Teslas. How are they? So they're buying 10 Teslas, but they've realised they can't charge them up because they've not got enough charging ports. So what they're doing? They're using diesel generators to charge the Teslas up. What? So think about that logically, right? And it's just, once it becomes one rule for them and they're telling you what to do and you've got to do something different, very, very soon, I think within 2 years, the whole shit will hit the fan, because people will not take it. for much longer. I'm telling you, once the people wake up and realise what is going on, I don't think it lasts for much longer. And I think that will be the undoing of it. It might be to social unrest or something crazy happening, because it can't keep happening, in my opinion. Yeah, maybe that's the right. You're probably right. Fire and pitchfork won't work anymore, will they? They won't. I agree with you. But something will happen. Something will happen. It can't keep happening. People are taking it, Aaron, and that's the most worrying thing. But I don't think it will happen forever. I think there will be a point where people turn around and say, I'm not putting up with this anymore. I'm not putting up with it anymore. I'm not putting a hydrogen boiler in my house that's going to cost me $8,000. You know, when my combi's fine and it cost me $2,000. I'm not putting up with it. I'm not doing it. No, you pushed me too far. And I think that day will come eventually. Because they just keep on dreaming up more and more stupid shit. And I think it will happen. But guys, I'm going to have to go. I've got to go. I've got to be out the house at 9:15, so I'm going to have to leave you. So I'm going to have to go. I'm sorry to have cut it short, and it's been a good week. It's been a good week. We're back up. I'll be back on Monday. But everybody's too busy fighting with each other, Mark. That's the problem. It's all Conservative v Labour and unvaccinated versus vaccinated and all diverse, really divisive stuff, and they know what they're doing. People are too busy looking at what your neighbour's doing and what your friends are doing rather than what the politicians are doing. And I just hope that one day people really see what's going on. The bigger picture is what's needed for everybody to see. It's not about left v right or Democrat versus blinking Republican. We should just be all together and look at who's taking the piss really at the end of the day and go and do something about it. When that day comes, whoever does it, I will be right behind them. Right behind them. But yeah, have a good one. I'm gonna have to jump off. Soapbox. Yeah, I'm sorry, guys. I wish you guys could have a voice because it's just me talking rubbish hardly, and I do feel passionate about a lot of stuff. I just want everybody to get on and stop all this divisive stuff. But if that, whichever politician does that, I will be right behind them. And that's me in a nutshell. So thanks, guys. Take care. Have a good week. But I am going to have to go. I'm so sorry it's short, but I can't do anything about it. I've got to go and do this one. Wish you all a good week. And I'll see you back Monday. Have a profitable week. End to your week, should I say. And I'll see you Monday. Take care. Thank you very much for stopping in, everybody. Really enjoyed all the interaction this week. And I'll see you Monday. Take care.